All right. Today on Hanging with Hear2Zen, we have Tim and Kelly from Screamfeeder. So Screamfeeder are going to be back in Brisbane again at Spring Loaded 2.0. Also, new single out, new album coming out in May. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
That's all right. So new singles just come out. Don't Get Me Started. What's the story behind the song?
I thought you were going to ask what's the story behind the title, because there's no relation between the title and the song as usual, which is like our thing. But that's how I started writing the song. I had a chorus with "Don't Get Me Started" in it, and then I rewrote the lyrics. So yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with it. The song came about real quick, just playing around with my computer and using a new interface, and just kind of happened, and it was really quick and it was really fun, and then we banged it out into a proper song in the practice room. And it's kind of like, looking back at the lyrics, there were a couple of things I was saying, I think, but then when I've looked at it now, it's very much about like how, we just look at our phones all the time, that we need to look away, we need to see the bigger picture. We want to be saturated with information and assassinated by people online, like all those things kind of tell a little bit of a story. But yeah, I'm literally at the point where I would really love to be able to throw my phone out the window, but I need it for so many things.
Yeah. So Tim, does it mean something different to you?
For me, Kelly's lyrics are different from mine in that she'll write in a more abstract fashion. I'll tend to be a bit more like A to B to C to D. So hers are more about painting a picture that you can take it various ways, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'll just leave it at that. I don't try and dig too far into it, and if Kelly can attribute a meaning to it, then that'll do.
Excellent. And when did you first start writing this song? Because you were out doing the last Spring Loaded, so we've had a bit of a gap between now and the new one. So when did all the songs start taking shape?
Probably over the period of the last half of 2021 into the first half of 2022. So I had a bunch of songs up my sleeve. A few of them made it onto the record, and then as the album got closer, we both kind of started cramming a little bit, writing a little quicker, and getting a bit of a stockpile of songs up.
Now, Kelly, you mentioned using a new interface. So recording for all bands, in my opinion, has been made really simplistic, sometimes too simplistic, that people who have no right to be recording are recording. How do you find recording now as opposed to recording when the band started?
So, I was only using this interface to basically record demos, and I still don't really record demos. I mainly write songs on the guitar, and then I record it on my phone, and then I write it properly. So when, recording is like a whole new world now. Anyone can do it, and that's fine, because people have different takes on things, and all art is great, but we go into a studio and have somebody be the technician who records us. And I don't want to be the person who's the technician and the creator at the same time. I think there's a line that's too hard to cross, and it's too hard to troubleshoot problems and maintain a creative. Sometimes you need to be really aloof in the creative process, not be stuck in the middle of that
technical
stuff. So
technical
yeah. So for us, it hasn't changed, because we still do it in that way, but we do probably write in a different way now because of technology.
What about when it comes to the production side? So Tim, for you, when you go in, you said you have a technician or an engineer will be in there with you. Does the band still have the final say and where the producers had, or do you prefer to have an outside party producer sort of
well, the producer's job is to just help you get the best out of your songs, and to help the album attain a vision, as opposed to you know, they can hear the songs from like an outsider's perspective, so they can go, okay, this album needs to sound a certain way because the songs are dealing with this subject matter, or because the song's music sounds a certain way. So that's their role, and if they can perform that, that's fantastic, you know. And often there'll be a producer and an engineer, but in our case, we had the producer who was, you know, at the same time the engineer. So she is sitting there and she's recording us in a way which, you know, moves the session along, keeps us on track, captures something about what the band's about and about what the album should be about. And it's a really big job. And plus, at the same time, she's got to keep the band happy and performing well and not bored. So she's actually amazing like that. I can't even remember what the question was now, but yeah, that was sort of a bit of a wrap up about her role. Yeah.
Okay, and the album is going to be titled 5 Rooms. Meaning behind the name?
So the meaning I had to think. We were trying to find a common thread with the songs, and because Tim and I had written them, we'd written them separately in some cases, mainly like, you know, we were isolated from each other, but none of our songs are about like the lockdown or, you know, any of that stuff. We're writing about like other things, but the 5 Rooms, I think, is like our nod to the fact that we were all in different spaces. Tim had his room he was writing in, I had my room I was writing in. We would then go into different practice rooms, and it ended up being just 5 rooms that these songs were born in 5 different rooms, basically.
Fantastic. And Tim, tell us about some of the songs and titles for the upcoming album.
Well, the first song on the record is called Day Crew, and what usually happens when we write an album is that Kelly would be like, that's enough songs, I don't want any more. And like about 2 nights before we went into to record, I texted Kelly and said, sorry dude, I just wrote another song, it's good and I think you're gonna like it. And also, like, lyrically it tied together a couple of other ideas on the album.
Okay.
And so she was like, dude, I've told you I don't like any more songs, you know. And I sent her my crummy little phone recorder, and she's like, yeah, okay, it's pretty good, let's do it. And then so we're in the room recording on that weekend, and Dean was like rushing to get home because he's got little kids, and he finished his last drum take, and I'm like, oh dude, we got another song. And he's like, oh, quickly show me it, dude. And so I showed it to him, and like 20 minutes later he had it down, he was on his way, and it became the opening track on the album.
Is it hard to pick a lead off track?
Honestly, for us, it's almost always the most recent song we've written because it's like the most novelty. We're really excited about it.
That's good. And for you, Kelly, what songs are you excited about from the album? I know you're excited about the whole album, but is there some in particular?
So I mean, one of the songs that I'm excited about is the last song. It's really long, and it's kind of like an older Screamfeeder style song. It's heavy, and I don't know, like we spent a lot of time, Tim and I, working on getting the changes in the end, because it's like this long ongoing cycle of chord changes, and we just sort of had a lot of fun trying to make it a little bit weird sort of thing. And I don't know, there's something that's kind of cool about that song. Can't wait to play it. We haven't played any of these songs live yet, so
that one is going to be a good one to play.
I'm a big fan of the album closer, where it's like that epic moment and it goes a bit longer than the other songs, and it just sort of leaves you, I'm going to go back to being a vinyl guy and go, okay, back to side 1, so then you can go all the way through back to side 2 again for that last song.
We thought about this album as a vinyl, like turning the record over, like
perfect.
The sides, you know, the songs working in like bunches of 6 or 5. Is it 6? Yeah. So I mean, that's how I've always looked at creating records, even though when they were on CDs, I was still thinking that they were halves.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing for me, is that as a music consumer, being that I was brought up on vinyl, I kind of don't understand the shuffle function. I'm sorry, but I just don't understand it. I just kind of go, okay, I'm going to put this album on, And, you know, I make a playlist because for me, a playlist is no different than when you sit there with 2 cassette decks and put your favorite song and make your own little best of mixtape. So I'm cool with that, but I'm glad to hear a band has made an album that's actually an album. It's really exciting. I can't wait to hear it. How many of the songs do you think will get busted out for Spring Loaded?
None.
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 No, they're not out yet. So it's like we quite conscious at gigs like that most people there, you know, might be fairly casual listeners to the band. So if they hear a song they might know, it's probably better.
Okay. Now this is a question for both of you. Pick for me one song or one album that made you go, I want to be a musician.
Oh, wow. That's hard.
For me, it was like probably going back to way back in the, you know, dark ages of time, like the UK 82 kind of punk scene, bands like Discharge and Subhumans, who really took punk almost like down a notch in its approach to very rudimentary, like anyone can do this shit, you know what I mean? And it, like, I was at that particular age, I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
That's a really hard one because I kind of always wanted to play in a band and stuff. So I think for me, I'll say like the album Stone Age Romeos by Hoodoo Gurus, because I was like 15. I just got my bass and I learned how to play Dig It Up, and I thought I was the coolest person in the world. And you know, they were Australian, and I felt like that was really kind of achievable. And yeah, I just wanted to play in a band and have hair like Brad Shepherd, which I kind of do today.
Now, Tim, you talk about punk. How do you think was a genre? How do you think punk has evolved over the years? And do you think there are any kind of newer bands at the moment that still sort of have that old school mentality?
Definitely. Like, you know, like I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but like for every subgenre of punk, there's still people out there like either doing it super faithful, like almost in this like retro-ish kind of fashion, or they've taken the aesthetic of that and like pushed it into the modern, some new context, which is awesome. And then, you know, there's a ton of bands from back then who are still going and kicking ass and doing stuff which is still faithful to who they are. And so the genres might splinter and become more, you know, micro, but it's still a huge sort of force of music. Like you can always, like, if you listen to like mainstream radio or even Triple J or even Double J or even to an extent Triple Z, you can kind of like be a bit oblivious to the whole punk world that might be happening. But if you get online or you get on Instagram or whatever it is and you're aware, oh my God, there's just so much going on.
Okay, now another question for the both of you. What is the Desert Island album for both of you? And you can only pick one.
Just one.
Ooh.
Just one.
Wow.
That's impossible. Like, I'd probably rather take a rope and hang myself.
Who's that by?
Yeah,
I don't know.
song.
God. See, that's daily changing what my favorite record is and what I love. Yeah.
I think I'd go completely away from rock and roll, because as soon as you're on Desert Island, rock and roll becomes a bit irrelevant. Like, I'd probably go for one of the Studio One reggae box sets or something like that.
Yeah, you'd have to go for like a compilation of lots of different things. Yeah.
Taking a pass.
Yeah, pretty like that's impossible.
I think something almost like without words, like some instrumental music might be the way to go.
Cool. Yeah, actually, maybe some jazz, maybe like John Coltrane, maybe some classical music. Classical music would be nice, actually.
Great. Now, leading up to the album, how many more singles do you think we'll see pre-release?
20.
40.
Easy.
I don't know. Maybe one, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, do you
Why
think,
don't we know the answer to this question? We should probably know.
Yeah, I guess we just haven't scheduled when they might happen.
sure,
Yeah.
is that
We
hard?
don't have a plan.
It
Hard
is
as a
hard,
band to
but
pick
like,
one?
yeah, as a band, it's super hard. But when you have outside people like your manager or close friends who you can kind of trust, they go, "Oh, actually, that song's super great," and they'll point towards songs which you never would have thought of, and you go, "Oh, so
Yeah.
people are relating to that song because it's got such and such elements. Therefore, let's look at that."
And I've asked this to a lot of people I've chatted with. How hard is it to pick an album sequence?
That's actually really hard,
It's kind of
but
hard,
it's
but
really,
like,
really important.
yeah, it's kind of hard, but not impossible. Like, you can get there. Like, certain things make sense. Like, certain songs naturally roll into each other, and other ones you think they do, but the key's horrible, and it's awful change in chords or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's nice to have the occasional jarring change, but often with us anyway, it kind of makes sense the way our albums, they're all structured in a similar kind of way.
Okay.
And with this album too, because like we've got 60-40 split of songwriting, kind of like Tim to my songs, so it couldn't be one after another the whole album, so I had to, and we wanted to try and do one after the other as much as possible, so it was like Tim Kelly, Tim Kelly, Tim Kelly, Tim Kelly, Tim, or something like that. I don't know.
Tim Kelly. Yeah.
It was really hard to get the mix right, the sequencing in that way. But I think it works really well now that we've nailed it, and we did need other people to help us.
Yeah.
Is there a song on the album that you both think sums up Screamfeeder the best?
Well, the title "Late to the Party" probably does, just to be cheeky. Maybe not the song, but the title definitely. Yep. I don't know. We're pretty all over the shop in lots of ways. So there's no songs that have like lots of different things going on that we go, oh, that one's pretty much it.
Okay. Now
it could almost be the last song.
Right.
Oh, you think?
Because it echoes back to some of our earlier kind of style.
Yeah, that's true.
Next weekend, another hometown show at Eaton Hill here in Brisbane. Pretty much almost the same lineup as the Sandstone Point show.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to, except just getting on stage and playing? Or are you looking forward to seeing what other bands and things are you looking forward to?
Oh, for sure. But also, like, we're on a little later this time, so we get a longer set. We get a 45-minute set. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the set, and a couple of other ones which we don't often get to play. So it's actually really exciting, and we've been working with a new drummer, so we've rehearsed a lot. So we're actually going to be fairly confident and probably be able to run the show fairly almost as though we're professional about it.
Finally.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Magic Joe, because I didn't play the last one.
Yep.
Those Melbourne bands couldn't make it up, so Meanies and Magic Joe I'm really keen to see.
Have you got anything you want to let everyone know before we go today?
Should we talk about Bill, Kelly?
Yeah, if you want.
We're working with a new drummer who's a guy called Bill, who's a really lovely guy and super great drummer. And so we're kind of teaching him all the songs. So we're really able to handpick the set, and we've got to, after these shows, we've got to then decide what we take out on tour and like learn probably 25 songs so we can go out and do a nice long set. So that's kind of fun, and it's making us practice more, which is really good for us.
So everyone should wave to Phil next Saturday at Eaton's Hill, and everyone yell out, say hi, Phil. That'd be great.
Yep.
What about for you, Kelly?
Also, well, I'm surprised that you didn't mention this, Tim, but we have a book coming out.
Oh yeah.
You've been working on it so hard for so long.
Yeah.
So what is the book about?
The book is a photo memoir as such. Right. So it's all scans of actual physical photos from like 1987 through to about 2005. So there's 206 pages. There's probably 400 photos in there and little stories with them. And it's all just focusing on that era when we took cameras on tour, We got them printed at the chemist when we got home, and we've had them sitting in drawers or pinned on the wall for all this time. So it's just, we've got so many cool photos, and a lot of them look like shit, like they're really faded and blurry and dark, but you know, it is what it is, and it's been my pet project for about a year actually. Yeah.
As a film guy, that excites me a lot.
Right.
Absolutely.
It is. It's very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
It's a lost art now.
Yeah.
Like the old school photos is a lost art. So look forward to checking it out. All right, guys, I'll let you go.
Thanks,
I'm going to
Alex.
see you in 8 days.
Awesome.
Yes.
And yeah, everyone, make sure that you are there early. Check out all the bands. All the bands deserve your love. And we'll see you guys next Saturday at Eats Hill.
Great.
See you
Thanks.
there.
See you later,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye.